So Dragon Ball Super episode 54 is now officially in the book. So for today's video, I will be reviewing it for you guys. What is up? My name is D Free. Welcome back to the channel, and I've actually made it official for several reasons. I'm not going to talk about it here. The channel's name is D Free. Just basically, that's all it is. I cut off the DBZHD. It was really hard to find my channel for some people. When you search it, you get a whole bunch of random stuff, and then when people shout me out and they say D Free, and people search D Free, you don't find my channel. So, like, just for simplicity, not to get into too much detail, I am D-Free, literally, in every sense of the matter. So, moving on to the episode. So, the episode goes ahead, and it takes place with Pilaf and Bulma working on the time machine. So, they now have enough for a round trip. Obviously, we know that those guys are going to the future to fight Black in a few episodes here. And they have enough fuel for a round trip now. And something that they did point out early in the episode that they did not have to, that I really do appreciate. It really helps my freaking OCD, man. There's a comedic relief scene in there where Bulma's like, "Who are you?" to Pilaf, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just a regular kid," and he plays it off. That basically confirms, even if it was comedic relief, that confirms that they don't know who these characters are. And I don't particularly care either way, but like, you know, to be honest, I do care a little bit. It's like, how do you not recognize a little blue elf guy with pointy ears, you know, sharp teeth and shit, like with a hat and all that stuff? Like, how do you not recognize him? But anyways, he's always been the same size anyway. But no, I digress. It's not a big deal. I'm just happy that they gave us some sort of confirmation because they did not have to do that. But moving on from there, we see Trunks image training. He's imagining himself fighting Black, and he's losing in all of the freaking training that he's doing. It's interesting too because they pulled a page straight out of Naruto here. They got this guy channeling the chakra into his feet. He's standing on the water. It looked like he's standing. He could have been hovering. Whatever the case is, he's on water. It's dope. But you know, he's image training, fighting against Black. He's losing, and it got so intense that he started bleeding. Now, just another comedic relief. These guys are just here all over the initial portion of the episode. They totally killed off the tension for this arc, basically. There's no tension anymore. But Mai basically sees Trunks image training, and she imagines herself basically being incapacitated, and Trunks is there about to kiss her. So they don't show it, but they cut away from that. But Trunks is about to kiss a little girl that's not really a little girl, but is a little girl, so it's not okay because he's like in his 30s at this point. It is what it is. Moving on from that. Goku, Beerus, and Whis arrive back on the planet. Again, more comedy. Whis is like, "Oh, you guys were fighting so much that I couldn't tell how fast I was going." So they crash into the ground and make this huge crater. And Beerus is like, "You fucking liar. I know you did that on purpose." And Whis plays it off. So obviously he did that shit on purpose. You can't disrupt Whis like that. He knows what's going on. So he was just annoyed with them basically, which is funny. You never see Whis get irritated. But, you know, cutting away from that, it's funny because they're explaining to Trunks that Zamasu is a similar character. Oh, my phone's going off. I'm going to mute that. They're explaining to Trunks that Zamasu is a similar character to Black. He's got a similar ki, but it's not 100% the same. They said that it's possible that maybe he took somebody's body. That was kind of in there. And Beerus says, you know, he doesn't have that feeling yet, but it's possible that he may start thinking evil thoughts down the line. Black's ki is essentially 100% evil. Zamasu's wasn't like that. Goku says that he doesn't think that he will become that guy because he got a chance to spar with him. And at this point, Beerus is like, yeah, he's still no chance against you. He may be a god. Yes, the Kaioshin are gods. He may be a god, but he's just an apprentice Kaioshin. He stands no chance to a character like Goku who fought Beerus on a semi-even ground. And at that point, Trunks has the realization that Goku is infinitely stronger than he is. Trunks realizes he doesn't really particularly need to get stronger. Vegeta sees that weakness in him and that realization in him, and he walks up to him and he's like, "Hey, let's go train." And they go off into the forest. I'm going to come back to the Zamasu stuff because this kind of cuts in between the middle of both of these parts I'm talking about. But they go off into the forest, and Trunks is like, "Hey, let's fight. I want you to go full power. Show me that same technique that Goku used, the Super Saiyan 3. And then Vegeta just laughs. He laughs at him. He goes Super Saiyan Blue. He just laughs. He says nothing. It instantly transforms. I was like, that's pretty freaking dope. He's like, Super Saiyan Blue. And I was like, oh, shit, Vegeta. This is another one of those confirmation moments. They're basically confirming that Vegeta's aware of the form, of course. He's seen it several times. I'm all but positive that if Vegeta really, truly wanted to, he could transform into the form. He could achieve the form and utilize the form, but it was never really a good form to begin with. It's always had drawbacks. It's always had stamina issues, and he basically has surpassed it massively in achieving Super Saiyan Blue. So he laughs. He's like, oh, it's Super Saiyan 3. All right, here, blue, boom. So it's like another one of those confirmation moments. He could have done it, but he never really did. And he's never been shown to do it on screen in a canon format, aside from Heroes, basically, in a canon format. But I'm all but certain he can do it simply because he passed it up already. It's just like Blue would be a harder form to achieve. So they get into a little bit of sparring. Trunks is Super Saiyan 2, Vegeta's Blue. He rushes him, and Trunks goes grade 3 Ascended Super Saiyan. And Vegeta gets pissed off. He's like, oh, you're still relying on that old sluggish form. And then Trunks, he basically bait and switched on him. He faked him out. And he went back to being Super Saiyan 2 at that point. And whenever he turned back into that form, he dodged Vegeta's blow, and then he tried to blow at him at that point. And moving on from there, you know, they spar a little bit more, and Goku shows up with Bulma to show him that he's training with him, and Trunks gets mollywopped, basically. He can't handle it. He gets kicked into a wall. He's like, okay, yeah, if these guys are this strong, they can handle blue without me, or black without me. And he smiles, and Vegeta grabs him by the shirt, and he's like, if you're my son, if you're a Saiyan, think about the future. Think about the universe's strongest, not just black. Black can't be your only goal, which is true. There's nobody else but him in that timeline. You know, he has to get stronger. He has to be able to protect that timeline. He can't always run back to the past. So it makes sense, right? You know, that's the only opportunity he will have training. And it's so amazing, the character development that Vegeta's had. And what it enables them to do is it allows them to put Vegeta in these situations to where he can have character building moments with Bulma, you know, because there's been a lot of instances in Dragon Ball Super that he's interacted with Bulma and he basically ignored her in Dragon Ball Z. You know, he's had instances with Trunks, Kid Trunks, and now he's having moments with future Trunks. He's like, hey, you're my son. I'm going to train you. All these other things. You need to look forward to the future. You need to, you know, build yourself up. And it's like, and he even had that moment with Kaba, you know, like this guy, I can't say enough good things about his development in Super. If there's one thing Dragon Ball Super has done right from a storytelling perspective, it has been Vegeta. He's just a totally different character, and I love it. You know, and Trunks bows to him while Vegeta walks away. And getting into the Zamasu stuff, which kind of happened, like I said, in between all this training, Zamasu is there with Gowasu. Gowasu is watching these new humanoid beings on planet Barbari. They're like basically like monsters. It's funny, and like I said last review, and Geekdom even dropped the video last week, anything that is not a god or a godly being like a Kaioshin, even Dende, he's a god in Dragon Ball Super. Anything that is not a godly being, a Kaioshin, a god of destruction, a guardian of some sort, it's a human, you know, it's an earthling, or not a human, not an earthling, excuse me, it's a human because it's immortal. So that's what Dragon Ball is doing. So these monsters from a different planet and universe are humans, you know. So Gowasu wants to observe them while Black wants to annihilate them or eliminate him, I believe he says. And Gowasu scolds him at that. He's like, yo, that's not our job. That's not our role. We are here to watch. And I'm like, this is crazy. And when he says that, they get into this slow symphonic, you know, beat at that point, and it sounds like it sounds like the Black theme. Somebody can correct me if I'm mistaken. Let me know. It sounded like it was Black's theme, which was really, really interesting. They're basically trying to really, really force on you the idea that Zamasu is Black, and I don't particularly care, to be honest. I don't know how convoluted Dragon Ball wants to be with its storytelling. It's very possible that he is Black, or they could bait and switch and have somebody else be him. I don't really particularly care at this point. Because excuse me, I burped a little bit. As far as we know, everything is pointing to Zamasu, and I'm okay with that, to be honest. So Gowasu comes up with the idea to watch the humans, or the humanoids, human-like beings from planet Barbari 1,000 years into the future. He temporarily promotes Zamasu to being a Kaioshin so he can travel to the future with him, because he says nobody can use the time rings if you are not a Kaioshin. That means you cannot be an apprentice Kaioshin or Supreme Kai, you know, the English dub term. So he temporarily promotes him, and something that's interesting is that those green rings in that box were basically rings that appear on their own every time somebody creates an alternate timeline, which is interesting. He said that that last one appeared on the top row a few years ago. I don't know if that's in relation to Trunks or if something happened in that timeline or like any other instance we don't know of, but like that's really interesting too, because that's something else. Basically he shows Zamasu the future, and Zamasu just basically gets more confirmation that humans need to go, basically. Everything is that they try to do that's positive for him. It's like, no. He just gets more and more assured of himself, which is interesting. The Goku fight was supposed to change his perspective. All it did was scare him more of humans. That's all it did. So kind of moving on from there, they get into the training stuff, and that's pretty much the ending of the episode. There's not really a whole lot left there. The episode ends off with Beerus and Whis screaming, because it's always fun every time Zeno contacts Beerus or Whis, or whenever we see them, even though it's only been a couple of times at this point, because Beerus shits his bricks, and he's the only one that can freaking terrify Beerus. Beerus got so scared that he fucking slammed his face through the table. Obviously, that's comedy relief, but he's legitimately scared of Zeno, because that guy can eliminate them at any point in time. So I don't know if this is going to be part of the main arc, if this is them cutting away for a little bit, or if this has something to do with Black, or Zeno knows what's going on. They did say that this arc would drag in a lot of the other gods of destruction and Zeno, so I don't know what's going to happen. It's just a good time to be enjoying the series at this point. So let me know your favorite part of the episode. If there was anything in the episode you would change, let me know that as well. It's an interesting little question there. But that is it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video nonetheless. Subscribe if you're new. Catch you next time. Peace out.